three different use cases to show you some examples using the RACEMAP API. The first one, it was the first one is an example we use on bus transportation, excuse me. With the need was to follow the spectator bus transportation in real time to optimize the rotation between the carpooling, the carpool parking, excuse me, and the biathlon arena during the last World Cup biathlon in France. And the second need was to be able to provide to spectators estimate waiting time using the RACEMAP API to be able to say, okay, the next bus will be here in 5 minutes or something like that. In detail, they wanted to have also a color, a specific color, because it was only an uphill and downhill to be able on two-way road. So they wanted to have a simple map with green if the bus is uphill or red if the bus is downhill. And they wanted also a tail behind the vehicle to be on one eyes to be able to visualize the speed of the current device. Add also the speed on the label. So we request the two different APIs, API time and current. Using the RACEMAP exchange already showed you just before. The time was using only to detect if the buses was on the top on the biathlon arena, and so when I detected the bus on the top, I know that they will be on the downhill and inverse on the park. And the current API, it was to receive the average speed to push this information into REST result 14. Yes, using two different API to be able to know, okay, the speed, I can push this speed into the RACEMAP participant list using the API, sync API with the color. And the final rounding, it was this one with red buses during the downhill, the green buses during the uphill with the speed inside the label. It was quite, it's not possible to do that currently with RACEMAP because normally it's not possible to refresh the participant list in live. So I was able to refresh the participant list in back office each 5 minutes without any problem. And to have this one, I use an iframe to put the player inside an iframe and refresh the iframe each 1 minute. So 1 minute, each 1 minute, the guys have add a small loader, and I load again the color and speed. So it was cheat, but it was working. First one. Second one, for the second need, it was to we need to get the current latitude and longitude magnetism to the shadow track. This information is available into the current API. To push this coordinate into the Google Traffic API and get the estimate time at arrival through this API and push this information into REST result 14 to be able to provide dashboard and an external API for the customer. The workflow is quite similar with RACEMAP API current to get the latitude and longitude on the shadow track, the Google Cloud Traffic API to push this information from the shadow track and receive the estimate time at arrival into a specific middleware to push this data into REST result 14 and push this private display as a presenter and provide them a JSON output. And the final rounding, it was the presenter inside REST result 14 with the bus, the speed, distance to the next stop, and the estimate time at arrival. I had also a dashboard with all the stop and the final API to arm this data in real time in their own software. Next one, another funny things. we work sometimes on nautic event, and there are a lot of big boats on the playground. Like on this picture, you can put 200 stand-up paddler on the sea and have a big cargo like that on the playground. So and each big boat are using AES devices. It's a GPS who are able to send their localization in real time using satellite connection, but also be able to be detected on local ground antenna. So there are a lot of ground antenna all along the coast, and we can get this information using public database. And the organizer want to be able to visualize in real time the chip in this area and also all their stand-up paddle. We start with the AES database. Another custom middleware, we get the location of the boat in this area, and we push inside the RACEMAP database as it was GL300 devices using the same protocol and the same IP and port. And the final rendering was this one with the cargo in real time on the map with the paddler. It was no problem. You can plunge the start without any problem. It's quite funny, but it's difficult to imagine the size of the boat, but it's maybe 20 or 30 meters, and the paddler are very small. And the last one, to be short, some feedback inside REST Result 14 using the RACEMAP API to be able to have everything in the same tool, single tool when you are timing your event, and try to get the maximum of information inside the same tool as battery consumption, distance to finish, status, messaging, etc. So we get only the information from the current API, get them using RACEMAP exchange and push into REST Result 14. And after we can use this data for any external use, and also use this data using REST Result Exchange software from Tobias and Austria guys. And this software is able to push message to the RACEMAP API, messaging API. So as we said previously with Stefan, we are able to say, okay, this guy is quite close to the finish. The battery left is quite enough, so we can push a new message to reduce the refresh rate. Some example to be able to monitor before the start if the device is offline or online, the battery level, the distance to go, etc. It's quite easy to play with this data inside REST result after. Yeah.
This thing, I didn't realize you could, now that I'm putting what you're saying with what Conrad said this morning together, I didn't realize you could do it whenever I want. Improving the refresh rate.
Yeah.
So is it possible to imagine that we don't just do it at the finish, we do it before guys show up at every single checkpoint?
It's possible, of course.
I mean,
yeah. The biggest problem, I don't have the correct statistic, but when you send 100 message or 1,000 message, they are always lost.
Okay.
Maybe 1, 2, 5, I don't know how many. So yes, we can do if you want to improve the accuracy of the timing on checkpoint, it will be
all of them, like I'm thinking, if you think of Race Across France, you got the 2,500, they're gonna show up at one point at the start of the 1,000. I'm not too worried about that. But the last checkpoints before the arrival sees everyone coming through at some point. So knowing more granularly the volume of people we can expect would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's the biggest problem. If a message is missed to reduce the refresh rate, it's not a big problem. Okay, you keep yeah, it's a bigger problem because you will have a problem with the battery after. So you need maybe to follow with more attention on the battery curve. I didn't do a screenshot, but I monitor also the battery curve into REST result 14 now, for example, for your event, Stefan, to calculate how many percent per day or hours each device will use, so we can sometimes you can detect if the devices doesn't have a good location, clear view on the sky. Yes, it's quite similar to maybe we need to be more focused on the battery statistic if you want to play with the refresh rate during the race. Race result exchange, it's quite easy. You can just put the RACEMAP message API into the URL field. The template as Carl showed you previously, and you have a right panel with who receives the message and green checkbox or red checkbox if you receive the result of the push. So you can send any message to any device using Race Result 14 and Race Result Exchange. And it was done. Okay. It was quite short, but the day is long.
I don't know if you ever imagined using your technology on boats.
Mickael shared this use case, so but it's still impressive. I have two questions for the first use case, the bus or public transportation. Did you use the two different APIs through the same event settings, or
No, only current API to get the latitude and longitude on the shadow track.
yeah?
Because at the beginning I use only the latitude and longitude, and sometimes the GPS fix is not so good, so I can get a location, for example, 20 meters upper of the road, and when I sent this coordinate to Google API, sometimes this location was magnetized on another road and increase or decrease so now I use but only this one.
Okay, only this one, but the map you were using to display the information, was this at the same event as you used the API? So in this case, you only needed to create one event.
Yeah, I created two events as a backup, the second one, because I play also with the start time and time in the participant list.
Did you refresh the start and end time constantly, or?
Yeah. Each time I detected the buses on the top on the park.
I was already thinking because you needed the mapping on the shadow track.
Because I wanted to. Why was the problem? The problem was to be able to reduce the number of data into the time API. Because if I keep the windows from it was Thursday to Sunday evening, I will have all the detection, and I wanted only the last one. So okay, when the bus is started from the park, I want only the next detection on the. It was simple to reduce the windows inside RACEMAP to filter the data into Race Result 14. It was just a safety, another safety to, okay, I will push each time I detect the buses somewhere, I will push a new start time to reduce the data API feedback. And okay.
That means you constantly updated the start time. Then you lose the replay, which was not a problem in this case.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were no question about replay. And the second tracking map, it was just as a backup without any start time and time to, okay, if I have any problem, whatever happens, I have the real-time
the fallback
location,
showing something. Yeah. Okay, got it. And then we discussed that, let's say on your wish list, you would like to have a solution that the player updates information. In this case, it was the color, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest use case is not the color in this case, of course, but I think, for example, in my mind, the specific use case is more if the guy is DNF during a long distance race. If someone today keeps the browser open with the player, Stefan can push the statute DNF in this system. We can push this information into RACEMAP in real time at 5 minutes less or more. But if you never roll out the player, this guy is always moving at this real location, even if you already know the information that this status is DNF and we need to remove. And I don't know how it's work with RACEMAP, Eric. I don't know if you take if you refresh regularly the status of the guys or not.
Sorry, can you?
I need to check. The color is just, it was funny and we can work on the problem. It's not the problem, but I think it could be useful to be able to, yes, as you refresh the participant list in the back office each 5 minutes, you can do the same in the player to be able to be sure that everything is sync between the back office and the front.
The question to RACEMAP tech guys is how big is the effort to let's say auto update either SafeMap or the regular player automatically to have let's say synced informations up to date without the need to reload the player?
Let's go.
I think the question is if it needs to be updated automatically, because that makes it quite difficult, I think. But if you had like a refresh button inside it, that would be much easier to do, right? Because then you have just a refresh button and then it just refreshes basically the participant list, yes, and but then all the visualization, everything you changed and the location, everything would stay the same. And then we could also add on like a periodic refresh for as an opt-in, because I don't think like most users will care about that. And it's quite like if you have large events and it's quite some data that needs to be downloaded to basically sync the entire participant list. So I don't think everybody needs that, but
because I don't remember exactly, maybe 1 month ago, 2 months ago, you updated the syncs process into the back office. Now you can, or maybe 3 months ago, and you have a small dashboard with to say, okay, I updated 5 people, not change for every. Maybe you can get a push if you detect some updated guys to say, okay, I need to, maybe, yes, I don't know how it could be work, but it's also maybe a way to work.
So you think it would be feasible if maybe SafeMap or player tells the user that it needs to be, let's say, in worst case, reloaded to show the latest information?
The best way is to do that automatically, to be sure that what I'm looking is real state of the real participant list I have into the back office. But yes, maybe it could be also to display a button refresh to say, okay, you can refresh the participant list because we found some modification. But for the DNF, we use a platform for now 6 years ago or 5 years ago, and I never detect this problem. We put a lot of people DNF because you close, you open the player, etc. Yeah, there is no problem. And it was just during this try, I thought, oh, I can, everything is fine from the back office and no modification to the player. And I try with the DNF, it was the same. But it's not a big problem.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
Just maybe also for the audience. You showed that you in the label in the player you showed the speed.
Yeah.
Instead of something. We also support name and start number. So is there a requirement for more options there?
You can
to show in the label.
You can ask to Stefan, I think, also.
Yeah, this is
for sure.
But this is for the audience.
Some organizer ask us to this type of information into the label. We already discussed that, I think.
So are you saying, would we be interested in more data coming from tracker via the API?
No, it's because the player already knows
the speed.
Some more information, and we for this label we provide, I think, 3 options: name, start name, and the combination. But it's already a drop down, and if it's a low effort to maybe add some other stuff that's already available in the data, not new stuff.
For sure.
Then we could do it.
For sure, in
somehow.
some market has Radica, it's very important to know the current speed of the devices. It was when we work with Radica, it was you be sure that it was always the question. Is it possible to put the speed because it's quite similar to Stefan on Radica, they want to know instantaneously in the same time if this location on the if the speed of the car, because if the car is 50 kilometers, it's okay. If the car is at 0 or 10 kilometers, there are a problem, and we need maybe stop the start, etc. So in some sport, for sure, it could be nice to have some feedback like
Yeah.
speed, yes, because you already have this data in the statistic part.
And as far as I understood, you don't have to put the loop then to race result, back to the starter list, and then into the label, because the player already knows some of these information.
I don't know how it's possible, but yes, it could be fun if it's possible.
Should I note it down?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
Can we
Sometimes
add
some
something?
things are easy, and then we can do it.
The question of effort in the player, we already have the information. Yeah, when you select a device, then this statistics are available.
Do you have a value that tells you whether the tracker is going uphill or downhill? No.
No, and it's not easy. It could be possible using the shadow track, maybe, but without shadow track, very tricky to have this information.
It's again, the current API provides the bearing
No, bearing is only if the device sends the bearing.
elevation also. I need to check the documentation.
You are able, the elevation is inside the API feed for sure. But after you need to define if how many meters you need to move up or down to say, okay, it's moving up or down. Yes, it could be simple, but in real life, I think it's not so simple.
But the next question: what do you do with this information, up or down?
It's a real question.
But you're most likely going to hurt yourself if you're going downhill. Okay. So then you can cross that with other information. Just in terms of SafeMap.
Yeah, and you see it from on the top view, and you can derive this information from the map.
So one of the things, I don't know if we can do it now, but one of the things that on the public view I was looking for, I think you can do it on SafeMap, is we see all the dots on the map at the bottom. But when you're in the mountains and you've got 2,500 kilometers, somebody at the top of a hill might be going up or downhill. So having the ability to zoom, I think we now have that in SafeMap.
We have elevation data.
Yeah. But again, the ability to cross speed with whether you're going uphill or downhill might be another sort of alert that goes, okay, well, that guy is going really fast and he's going downhill, so maybe you keep an eye on
Deep
it.
downhill and has a high speed, then it's a big risk. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, in the concept of taking data and then just surfacing the things that we need to work. Like last year, we had 1,000 people going to the highest road in Europe, the Cime de la Bonnette, 2,800 meters. That was my biggest worry for 3 days, because I had literally 1,200 people going up to 2,800 and then down.
Yes.
One guy crashed downhill, and we're lucky he crashed on the right side of the road. Well, the left side, not the right side.
Yes.
And he called us. But again, it wouldn't have stopped it from crashing. But, kind of crossing this with maybe an SOS or whatever, it's all about reducing the noise. So you really focus on the things that make sense. But again, maybe it's just a gimmick. I don't know. I won't be pushing for that one.
I have another question.
The last question? Another question.
Last question. I realize so much effort on for the race across, or let's say long-lasting endurance races, to maintain the battery life from start to finish. Is this an option for organizer to or for the staff to change the device during the race and to increase the report interval? Does that have a problem?
A lot of problems. So no, from my point of view, we don't have any battery problem except on the 2,500 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers is quite easy to do. I don't remember exactly. I think one location each 2 minutes, Stefan, something like that. We can't have battery problem with this refresh on 1,000. Okay. I heard that Stefan would always have a best refresh to be able to be more active, etc. Okay, better data, etc. Switch device during the event, I'm not very happy with that because first you lost the previous history. Currently, you can't sync participants with 2 devices. I do that once per year. But you need to push into the API 2 people with the start time, end time until the change, and the start time and finish time for the second one from but in the player you have the 2 line. It's not perfect, I think, currently. If you are not able to put 2 devices for 1 participant, I think it's quite yes, it's not the best way because you lost all the previous data. If you need to request again the API if one time is missing or I don't know why and don't know thing, it's not the perfect way. Yes, currently I prefer to monitor the battery life day per day, and I have some color square inside OS Result 14 to try to detect as soon as possible the bad curve to say, okay, these guys, we will have a problem on these guys before the finish, etc. And sometimes we can ask to charge during the aid station because on ultra distance, everybody will stop at least 30 minutes, 1 hour. And with 1 hour in charge, the device will get maybe 40%. So it's quite enough. Yes, I don't remember your question at the beginning, but I'm not really happy with the switch of devices during an event. And after, you need to, if I take time to pass the label to say, okay, this device is for the beam number, I don't know. It also, why? Because I think that the volunteer can do errors, those errors. And if I ask to a volunteer to switch devices at midnight after 3 days without a lot of sleep, I don't know if you will have more problems than play with the battery. I don't know, Stefan, what's your feeling?
I mean, I think we have so many ways to make the battery last longer and the refresh. Yeah.
We switch some devices during Race Across France, for example, but maybe 5, I don't know how many.
Yeah.
5 on 1,500, so it's not so much.
I think the positioning of the tracker on the bike or the guy is the one that has the most impact.
We'll try. Yeah.
And what?
For this case, you gave every bus the tracker.
Yeah. It was only a proof of concept with only 40 or 45 buses, but we will work on the G7 this year in France with the cab to monitor in real time all the cab to know in real time the cab available to pick up the people. And they work also on the UTMB with, I think it's 200 buses to be able to manage with estimate time to the next stop. And we will work next year on the World Championship cycling in France also. And we work with Transdev, is one of the major bus company in France. and they wanted also to push this solution for the Olympic Games in 4 years in France, to be able to monitor everything with their bus. It was the first step.
Good, interesting. This is not long distance sports. Something, maybe a little bit closer to asset tracking.
Yeah, sure. But they are too bigger to be able to develop this system internally, because it was yes, for them it was not possible to. They need to ask too many people. For example, when I sent the invoice, 9 people need to check the invoice to validate.
9 level of checks.
Yeah, great. So
Don't waste money if you pay too much, but
They have a lot of developers at home, but they are not able to do this type of project in short delay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, Stefan, is there do the riders have some problems with the weight of the tracker? So, if it would be the double the weight or something, is it a problem?
What do you mean to have a bigger battery?
Yeah.
No, if it was available, is there other
Yeah,
trackers?
it's not available. It's just that I'm asking, what would be the boundary from the participant view?
Well, we'll be able to tell you more this year, because the previous years we gave the guys the tracker 20 minutes before start when they're in the queue, and it was kind of put it wherever you want. And this year we're gonna ask people not to keep it on themselves, keep it on the bike, because unlike a horse, if you fall, both things fall.
Yeah.
It's unlikely you're gonna fall and the bike is gonna stay like this. So I'm not worried about that scenario. But the thing that makes this easier is when we calculate stop time, the fact that you have the tracker on you versus the bike can sometimes influence the calculation. And so I want everybody to be the same. If your bike is against the wall, it's against the wall for everyone. The second thing we're going to try to do is to mandate where it goes. So maybe 3 areas, because you can't say, okay, it needs to be that location, because some people will have a bag or whatever. So try to find, and that's a topic maybe we can cover over a beer today, because I know, Conrad, you've got some things to attach trackers to. But we're trying to find a place or a couple places that make sense. So we can tell people you put it either on the forks or, I don't know, around your seat post, or, somewhere where it doesn't break, where it doesn't, And once we do that, we'll know a lot more about consumption. If the number of calls that I get goes down, if the battery lasts longer, then we know it's solving the problem. And maybe we don't need a bigger battery. The next level would be, if that works and I can get a bigger battery, then I can go from, I've just checked, it's 5 minutes, every 5 minutes for the 2500, every 3 minutes for the 1000, every 2 minutes for the 500, every minute for the 300. Most likely will be every 30 seconds or minute for the 200K. If I can get better reception, less battery consumption, bigger battery, then maybe the 2500 becomes every 2 or 3 minutes. And then, again, that reduces my risk. But nobody has ever complained about the size, or just sometimes you see people that all of their pockets are stuffed with things. They don't have a single space to put it. It's scary. One guy broke his back. Like, he opened the zipper, he put the thing, and it just exploded the back. Like, the guy's gonna start in 10 minutes, and it's like panic and So So we'll see. I'm okay with the kit at the moment. It's really more a process of telling people in advance we're gonna mandate. They also have to protect their frame, because some people are, I would be the same. They're pretty precious about putting something that might move and scratch their frame. So
some of them guys have really expensive bikes, yeah. So.
Yeah, and I understand. If you have a nice bike and we ask you to put, zip ties and things, So we're gonna try things that we need to. That's the one thing I'm trying to say.
Yes, I put one display from the battery consumption during one race across France on for example, the 200K. And it could be to single to double, I think, the consumption. So we will see this year if we try to find the best location, if we can reduce the range of battery. Mais si, 10 fois, mais tu dormais pas assez. And we will see if using some perfect or better location, we will reduce the range to be able to see, okay, we know that a device using on bicycle will use, at this refresh, we will consume 2% per hours. So we'll be able to adjust the settings. We will see.
Hmm.
And we will tell you next time.
Yeah. And I really like the idea that you do these measurements and base your decisions on data. It's really good.
This is a good investigation.
Yeah, to see.
This helps you.
But currently, I started to get all the battery data from your database for 2 last years to start to say the goal is to detect if some device consume always, for example, 10% more. But in fact, it's quite difficult because each event are different, each sport are different, each people who wear the device uses different.
Weather has an impact also. Yeah, if it's wet outside.
If it's raining, yeah, it's very difficult to have, and it's quite always between the single to double consumption on each event. So yes, we'll see if we are able to reduce the range, trying to keep a similar environment between every rider. If we put the device, for example, on the frame, we'll see.
Yeah.